Before Arctic Monkeys were the profound, cryptic, polished rock gods that they are today.
Yeah.
They were a young, plucky band of cheeky chappies desperately trying to find their big break in Sheffield, England. But did you know that their big break was helped along by MySpace? Hi, I'm Adam. Welcome back to Music Mongoose. The band formed in 2002 with Matt Helders, Andy Nicholson, Jamie Cook and Alex Turner. Jamie Cook came up with the name, by the way. It was a play on Northern Monkeys, which is a bit of a derogatory term used in England for people in the north.
Yeah.
So, they had a band, and, as bands do, they wrote some songs. They practiced, and were finally ready to play some shows in 2003. Their first one being at the Grapes Pub on Trippett Lane, on Friday the 13th of June. Not the greatest date to pick for your first gig, is it? They kicked around Sheffield for a while, playing local shows, and built up quite the loyal cult following. It then came time to record some songs. They went to Two Fly Studios, again in Sheffield, and recorded 18 songs. They burned these onto CDs and started giving them away at shows, for free. On those CDs were early demos of songs like Fake Tales of San Francisco, Mardy Bum, Riot Van, Scummy, which later became When the Sun Goes Down, and of course, the big one, Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor. Little did the band know
that the power of the internet was about to launch them into the spotlight.
Fans began ripping and uploading the CDs on websites and sharing them with each other. One of those websites was MySpace. The likes of Panic at the Disco, Paramore, You Me at 6, Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance all owe a bit of thanks to MySpace for getting them going in the early days. So, someone, let's call them the hero of noughties British indie, decided to make an Arctic Monkeys MySpace page. There, all the songs were shared, all the fans could talk to each other about the band and Sheffield.
Yeah.
And that page gathered a lot of momentum in the north of England. So much so that they started getting loads of attention from radio stations and newspapers and continued to grow in popularity. A couple of years later, in 2005, they released their first single, 5 Minutes with Arctic Monkeys, which was 6 minutes long. It was a re-recorded Fake Tales of San Francisco with a new track, From the Ritz to the Rubble, on the B-side. But all of this attention got them to Reading and Leeds Festival that year, one of the biggest festivals in the UK, if not the world, and they played the Carling Tent, reserved for new and unsigned artists. Just 4 years later, they would headline the festival. A huge feat. In the midst of this ridiculously successful summer of 2005, the band signed with Domino Records. It was owned by Lawrence Bell, and he ran the whole thing from his flat. This DIY, rough and ready approach appealed to the band. Arctic Monkeys weren't the polished, velvety band we know today. Back then, there were just a few northern blokes who'd stroll on stage, often without a backdrop, play a few blinding songs, and then trot off again. From there, they released I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, shot straight to number 1 in the UK, later followed by their debut album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, and thus was set on the path for greatness. Another artist that used social media to break the music industry is Lewis Capaldi, but in a very different way. Click the video on screen to find out how. And what story from the music world would you like to see next? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Music Mongoose.